All right, y'all, we're back with another Slim Millions episode, man. We are in a different location for y'all, and we ran into some real good people. I'm gonna let him introduce himself and talk about his brand that he got today, man. What's your name, Bit Up?
What's up, man? You know, they know me as Dr. Lester. You know, my thing is, when it comes to sports, my thing is I can put you in front of any college coach in the country. That's what I do. Our brand is Guns Down, Books Up. As you can see my shirt, Guns Down, Books Up. He's trying to encourage, especially the athletes, put guns down, put your books up, go on to school, man, make that money. There's a lot of NIL money out there for y'all. Put the guns down, man, make that money.
Boom. My boy just came through clutch too, y'all. I ain't even had to work hard to get this. Like, I came out here, he actually approached me about content, and we just traded out pretty well, man. I told him I'd buy a shirt if he do a video. It was too smooth. So what I'm about to do, I'm about to give him a even all over, and we're gonna line up the beard and everything, and we're gonna keep it pushing. We're gonna get a few questions out of him, though. We're gonna talk about a little, everything. So let's start with the cut, y'all. First thing first, man. It's cool to see everybody out here in Miami, man. What is your reason for being in Miami?
Man, well, you know, I live here. This is home for me.
Okay.
You know, Trail 5, you know, Chevy Dunks, Double A, Triple, you know, all that good stuff here in Miami, you know.
Yeah. Man, my boy said he live out here, y'all, so I'm out here just visiting and traveling and stuff, so I enjoying the vibes. Do Miami ever get old to you at any point?
Not really, but you know, I travel a lot, man. You know, I go to the ATL, you know, I'll fly to Los Angeles, go through Louisiana. So, you know, it doesn't get old or boring to me.
You're right. Man, oh, I forgot to mention we got a special guest with us too, y'all. I want to introduce his son. What's your name again, Bit Up? Darius, man, come over here real quick. Darius, show them folks what you working with the grip, with the shirt, man. Show them folks something. He go Guns Down, Books Up for y'all too. Lightly and got down. Oh, I ain't gonna steal my boy shit, my fault. I ain't gonna steal it. I ain't gonna steal his lingo. But what I'm about to say though, my boy Darius right here, man. This his son right here. So he really, you know what I'm saying, got his boy out here showing him the ropes, giving him right and all that. That's a real father for y'all real quick. How important is fatherhood to you?
Man, you know, the big thing about fatherhood is real important because a lot of young men, you know, they really need their fathers in their life. I mean, you look at the success stories of LeBron James and his son, and Deion Sanders and his son. That shows you the importance. And then, you know, you just take a trip up to the juvenile jails, and you'll see there's a lot of young men that don't have fathers and nobody to show them the right way, and that's why they end up there. So, I mean, fatherhood is really important, man. So fathers, if you're out there and you hear me, take care of your children, especially if you got a little boy out there, man. Take care of that little boy, he needs you.
Big facts, man. Just what's one of the things that you think is like the hardest challenge with fatherhood?
Well, I think the hardest part is when they become up to age where you're really trying to teach them, and the biggest challenge is trying to keep them away from the streets because the streets is real powerful, you know, especially with a young teenage boy. You know, there's drugs out there, there's girls out there, but, you know, you still got to be on top of them and let them know, listen, I know what I'm talking about. That's why I'm here, and I got to keep you away from that stuff so you'll be here and you'll be around and tell your kids the same thing.
Thanks, man. So I'm seeing a lot of things correlate with the brand a lot, dog. You said it's Guns Down, Books Up, right?
Your Guns Down, Books Up.
Yup, there we go.
I think is, you know, we lost probably about over 4 kids that I've worked with due to gun violence, and it's all because they're not educating themselves on how to solve problems, you know? You don't always have to run to a gun. Sometimes you just got to step away and just say, you know what? You won, you got this, it's over with. But a lot of times, you know, these young men, they want to show their manhood, and that's what happened.
Thanks. How is it possible for you to keep him, you know, on the level head and keep him straight and making sure that he doesn't do the wrong things?
Well, you know, I think the biggest thing is just being real with the kid. You know, you got to be real with the kid, and you got to show him the pros and the cons, and then you just got to pray and hope that he follows and make the right decisions.
Yeah, man. I feel him on that, y'all. It seems like everybody understand what to do. You know, do you believe that sometimes kids take their own path regardless of good parenting?
There's no doubt that they do. My cousin, he grew up and his dad was a preacher. The mother was the first lady of the church, and he ended up being one of the biggest drug dealers in the county. He did about 19 years. So there are some good parents that do good by their kids, but the kids just want to take the wrong road for whatever reason.
Right. Man, I gotta ask you, dog, like when I come out here to Miami, I love the vibes, bro. It's amazing out here. How do people explain like that this is the downtown part of Miami and then the surrounding parts is like boom, we got a lot more extra going on versus like what we're seeing right now. Like, oh, this looks great. But in the surrounding parts you could be like, man, it's easy to fall victim into the streets.
Yeah, it's real easy. You know, this is beautiful. This is where mostly all the tourists come. But you know, you got your little areas, you got your overtowns, you got your down south. It's really easy. It's always good if you're a tourist, try to talk to somebody before coming and get to know the landscape, because if you do that, you're gonna be all right, you know? Because you can make one turn and it be your bad day, you know?
Facts. Man, if I wanted to move to Miami, what would your best advice be?
Man, if you wanted to move to Miami, my best advice, man, find you a nice house over there in Coral Gables somewhere, man, and cut hair where you can charge $100 a cut.
That's what I like to hear. That's the best advice for me for sure, y'all. So, boom. With the brand, do you think that you profit a lot off of the shirts that you sell, or do you kind of just like giving out the message a whole lot? How does that work for you?
I think it works both ways. We give out a really great message, and then we also profit a lot. But now follow me on this. Catch me on this. The profit is when we make profit and we take that profit and we invest it into the lives of the kids. And that's when we really profit, when they go off to college and come back with a degree or come back into the community and pouring back into the other kids. So at the end of the day, you know, if we sell about 1,000 shirts, we make good money, and we take that money and we pour it into the kids.
Facts. Man, from your childhood and from what you had as a kid, do you feel like that you had the same support system as far as like a father and everything that helped you out, and a good supporting system as far as like mothers or whatever the case may be?
My childhood was a little different from a lot of people. My mama died when I was about 6. My daddy raised us. My dad worked 2 or 3 jobs to keep the family going. But what was so unique was I got involved in sports. And by me getting involved in sports, those coaches that was around us, they put their arms around us and they helped raise us, which, you know, shout out to my football coach, Coach Don Dracon, my wrestling coach, Coach Mike McCoy, and Victor Bomacita, Coach Waggle. It takes a village to raise us, you know? So I could say mine's a little different, but because the coaches stood in as my father figure, it really helped contribute to my success.
All right. How important is it for a kid that doesn't have a good support system to go ahead and take advantage of like doing sports and stuff of that sort, of extracurricular activities of any kind?
They gotta, you know, they gotta just have that willpower and not wanna do wrong because it's so easy, you know? And they gotta be leaders. I met a friend of mine by the name of Mr. Wilbur Bell, a multi-time millionaire, and Wilbur told me he does real good by his kids, but he said, you know, Coach, you really don't need no father. I didn't have no father growing up. He said, but the kid got to have the willpower to want to do right. Everything my father taught me, you know, some little tips. They ain't gonna give you nothing. You know, you gotta always work hard. Just a little tip for life. You know, if you're gonna call out sick, don't ever call out on a Friday or Monday. You know, most people don't really teach that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I never heard that before. Like, don't call out on a Monday or a Sunday.
Right.
Damn.
Right. Because most young people will get paid on Thursday and then they call out on Friday.
Yeah.
So that's not setting a good example with your employer.
Right. And that's crazy, right? I've never heard that before. That really speaks volumes to me. Y'all gotta think, I cut hair for the last 10 years, y'all. So, you know, just any type of job advice, I really don't hear it as much. I gotta learn it off the strength. What do you think one of the most valuable lessons in life you learned was?
Never to quit.
How do you stop from quitting?
Well, the first thing is you gotta have a willpower, no matter what you go through. Sometimes it may be some tough obstacles, and you may have to do a reroute to get where you're trying to go. I mean, when I was in the 9th grade, I went out for the wrestling team, and we wrestled at a school called Miami Southridge Senior High. I'll never forget it. And the guy came out and pinned me in 30 seconds. My aunt came to that wrestling match and she was so mad because she couldn't get the picture of me being on my back. I didn't quit there, but to make a long story short, my following year, for the last 2 years, I went to state. My senior year, I was a state champ. If I would have quit when I got pinned in 30 seconds, I would have never been a state champ. So
Wow.
that's why it's important not to quit. And that's really the formula to success, not quitting.
Facts. Man, I like the way you said that. How you become such a good talker, man?
I've been trying to get to Hollywood all my life. Maybe this is my opportunity.
Hey, we breaking. Here we come. What's one of the things in life right now do you feel like it's kind of like a challenge for you?
I think the biggest challenge is getting to a point in life where I want to be financially. And the most frustrating part of my life is that I have a lot of friends and a lot of people I'm around that are really wealthy people. And my grandmother would always say, bird with feather flock together. And I often say, when is this saying gonna come true, you know? That's one of the biggest challenges, and it's frustrating. You know, I never really ask my wealthy friends for anything because they're my friends, you know? And it's more of a friendship than a long-term friendship. But that's like my biggest challenge. But I know I ain't gonna quit what we're trying to accomplish in life, and we're gonna get there, you know?
Man, that's a fact, y'all, man. Sometimes you gotta choose friends a little, I would say, wise maybe like learning who to cut off and who to keep around, but at the end of the day, we all gonna make sure ourselves are straight. But what's some good advice that you would give to anybody that is trying to become financially stable then? Like, what would you say to some things to not do?
I think the first thing you have to do is you have to discipline yourself. Because if you can discipline yourself, you can put yourself on a budget. And that's why a lot of times the wealthies are wealthies, because they know how to discipline themselves and put themselves on a budget. There's a story about the guy that's carrying a trash bag with a plain old Payless shoes with $1 million in it. And then there's the big timer with the big chains on his neck with the Gucci bag with $100 in there. And the moral of the story is that the guy with the plastic bag was a little bit more disciplined than the guy with the Gucci bag.
So how did they know that he was more disciplined? Just because of the fact that he had more in savings or he had more accumulated in life?
When they asked them to flip the bags, and they realized the one with the Gucci bag only had 100, and the one with the paper bag had millions, and they say, well, how did you go about doing that? He said, but think about this. The plastic bag cost me how much? How much the Gucci bag cost you? So he spent more money on the Gucci bag, and now he's gonna be struggling trying to pay for the Gucci bag. He spent less money on the plastic bag, and he don't have to worry about trying to spend more money, and he can save and accumulate his money. So sometimes you'd be surprised, you see people riding in those nice Mercedes, and those people that's in the little Camry, they be sweating because they're too busy trying to pay bills that they accumulate. And that goes with the discipline and the budget.
Facts. Man, my boy really just gave us some gems for the day. I'm honestly done with the haircut, y'all. I'm gonna let him say his last testimony on whatever he wanna speak on, anything you feel like you didn't mention or that you wanna give out today. Maybe your Instagram, maybe you wanna give out a life advice again, whatever it may be.
Well, listen, you can follow my Instagram. It's Lester, Lester.
Sydney.
Hash is Lester _Derrick, DERRICK. I think the biggest thing I want to talk to my YNs out there, And what I want to tell you is that violence is not the answer, guns is not the key. You need to pick up a book and read and learn and find some stuff that's constructive to do. And I may have a lot of the rappers gonna hate me on this, but y'all need to cut that fucking music off and start listening to something that's gonna pour something positive into your spirit. Because all of that running the drill and on the block and the Glock and all of that, all that's gonna do is lead you to jail or lead you to hell.
Man, that's $1 million cuts right there for y'all, man. Y'all take the gems in. Y'all follow us on Instagram real quick, dog. Like and subscribe for this video too. I appreciate your time, big dog.